So an important part of your grade this semester is documenting your work. In this video I'm going to show you a couple of techniques on how to get a good shot of your work. Now when you do these, you want to do multiple angles and close-ups for sculpture. So each time you turn in a work should have at least 3 pictures of that work, 2 from different angles and 1 close-up of a detail. And if you follow the instructions in this video, you will be able to take some nice shots and you'll get full credit for those points. Okay, so we're going to take a piece of poster board and we're going to create a seamless backdrop. So we take some masking tape and we have our table with our box set up on it. Now you could use a table against a wall. I'm going to put a piece of tape right on top. Now the idea here is to tape that down on both sides to create a backdrop that goes from horizontal to vertical with no lines. Now with a small object, a regular sized piece of poster board will be fine. So this is an example cement sculpture from sculpture class. And we're just going to set it down there. Make sure it's not right up against the back. And the first shot we're going to take is one without any extra lighting. There's a window behind me. Now you can see as I point here I'm casting a shadow on the piece. If I move the phone up slightly, I can make that shadow appear on a place where I can get rid of it. So I'll take a couple shots here and rotate, and it's always good to try different angles as well. So here's the shot that I took of the cement piece with no light except for the window behind me. And you can see in this area it's way too dark. You have this kind of gnarly shadow on the background. The rest of this looks pretty good. So if you have a good angle where you can get the light coming in at a slight angle from a window and a clean backdrop, that might be your best bet, especially if it's soft light coming through a sheer curtain or something like that. So now we're going to use a light source, and this is just a clamp light. Now this could be a lamp, could be just about anything you had. So notice I'm at about a 45-degree angle, and I am holding the light and holding my phone with the other hand. So I'm going to move the light around, take a variety of shots, going to keep the phone sort of towards the front there. So here's the shot with the light source. You can see that this is a lot warmer now in the background. Now we can adjust for that in post, but also you're going to see that there's much better overall evenness. There's not a shadow. We have a little bit of dynamicness. Notice this area is a little darker than this. So the light source provides some good definition, especially on these areas here. Now the background is not the most even all the way across, but I think that's okay. It's unobtrusive and it is not getting in the way of seeing it. And we have these nice little specular highlights right up here. And finally, if you notice your shadows are too dark on one side, so that you got one light source, you can use a white card to bounce light back onto to the sculpture. So notice here, the light bounces off one side back onto that. And this is really one of the ideal setups, as we can get a little bit of highlights on the darker side and keep things from getting too blown out. So use your judgment, decide what's best. So here we can see those two last shots side by side. You're not going to see a lot of difference here. You can just barely see. So this is the one with the one light and no bounce, and this is the one with the bounce sheet. And you can see just barely under here, there's a little bit of extra definition in that area. But you will find the brighter your light, the more that bounce sheet makes a difference. Okay, so our next example is a different background, this time a white sheet. And we're going to use a cardboard sculpture. Now, if you can't get a hold of some poster board or mat board, you can use a neutral colored sheet such as white or light gray. And if you don't have the table space, you can drape this over the back of a chair down onto the floor. A good idea, and you'll see when I show the pictures, is to iron the sheet first. Okay, I of course didn't do this, but you can fix some of that in Photoshop after. So we're going to smooth it out as best you can, and just like the previous piece, we're going to set that down. We're aiming to make a seamless backdrop for your sculpture. So as you shoot your piece, make sure your phone is oriented in the best direction for your sculpture. So here, vertical orientation makes more sense because the sculpture is a little bit more taller than it is wide. And this first shot we're going to do once again without the light. You're going to see some shadows on there. So here you can see the shot with no light on the sheet backdrop. You can see all the wrinkles down here. So that really needed to be ironed. And also we have once again a little dark shadow. Now the rest of that is pretty good. So you can make this work with no light. Once again. But this one is not usable. Next we're going to take some more pictures of the cardboard sculpture, but we're going to use this bright flashlight as our light source. So there's lots of options out there for you. So you can see that this one really lights that scene up and makes some dramatic shadows on that form. Now it's a little tricky, so here you might want to put your phone on the tripod and then hold the light, and then you can click timer release for your phone. Or you can have somebody help you and hold the flashlight while you squat down and shoot those pictures. So on the left here is the unedited shot of the cardboard with the flashlight on the sheet. And on the right there is an edited shot, slightly different angle, where I evened out the background tones, and I'll show you guys how to do that, and just brighten it up. But notice both these will work pretty well, especially if you iron your sheets. Get nice, good definition. And finally, for those of you with work that hangs on the wall, and also this goes for just spending them, you can do this outside as well. So here I've put a piece of card down flat on the ground. I've laid my work on it, and I'm in kind of a sunny spot here just to amp the shadows up. But if you need softer shadows, you can do that in the shade, and you'll have plenty of light, and it'll give you good definition. So that is an option. On the left here is the relief I shot in the bright sunlight. You're going to see nice definition in here. the angles of this and the corrugations, and everything's going to stand out nice and bright. On the right, it's a little softer. You still can see what's going on, but it's a little bit different. You can even really tell and hear the difference in the light. So the one on the right really needs to be color corrected to even out the backdrop.